11v11 soccer formations explained in this video are the big three formations. With any formation, the goalkeeper is always assumed. That is why teams start a game with 11 players on the field, but when adding up a soccer formation, it only adds up to 10 players. When naming a formation, you start by naming how many defenders, how many midfielders, and then how many forwards. The standard formation for many youth teams, as well as many English-level professional teams, is the 4-4-2 formation. This formation uses 4 defenders, 4 midfielders, and 2 forwards. The most common variation of the 4-4-2 formation is the diamond 4-4-2, where the center midfielders will actually stack themselves one on the other to where there's attacking and defending center midfielders. Also, you may find that the forwards are stacked as well instead of side by side. The topmost forward would be considered the striker, and then the forward that plays a little bit behind them is considered the center forward. A strength of this balanced 4-4-2 formation is that it provides enough players to defend effectively and attack effectively. This formation often ensures that the team is able to maintain possession amongst its defenders and passing the ball throughout the midfielders and not having to just boot the ball up the field every time and trying to play a counter-attacking style. Many coaches prefer this formation because it's the easiest to teach and simplest for the players to understand. This formation is great when a team does not have many star caliber players that can carry the scoring responsibilities by themselves. Furthermore, this formation provides enough width in the midfield and defense to prevent the other team from easily carrying the ball up the flanks or the middle of the field. The 4-4-2's weakness is that it heavily relies on forwards to be able to maintain possession, pass well, and dribble the ball through defenders to try to score. Teams who implement this formation often score a couple of goals per game. When the 4-4-2 formation plays against a 5-4-1 formation, the 4-4-2 generally doesn't have enough forwards and strikers to be able to overcome all the defenders and midfielders of the other team. And so one of those other great big three soccer formations is the 5-4-1, featuring 5 defenders, 4 midfielders, and 1 forward. The 5-4-1 is a very defensive formation. Often teams with less technically skilled players, as well as small nations playing large powerhouse nations, will use this formation. This formation is pretty effective when playing more talented teams in tournaments where you're hoping just to take the game to penalty shootouts in order to win. A strength of the 5-4-1 formation is that it emphasizes a defensive first mindset. And could you give this video a like? The 5-4-1 formation often utilizes what are called wing backs, that are defensive backs that carry the ball in the wings, in the flanks of the field, in order to cross it in to that center forward and the midfielders that play further up the field. Finally, the 5-4-1 formation has a defensive advantage against teams playing a 4-4-2 because a 4-4-2 only has 2 forwards, whereas the team playing a 5-4-1 has 5 defenders to cover those 2 forwards. The 5-4-1 formation makes it difficult for the other team to score, but also limits your own team's ability to score. However, in the 5-4-1 formation, the lack of scoring can reduce the confidence and spirits of the midfielders and forwards who like to score a lot and don't really feel like they're contributing much to the team when their team only averages about a goal a game. Finally, the 5-4-1 formation often doesn't have enough forwards to keep pace with the amount of goals that can be scored by playing a team with a 4-3-3 formation. The soccer formation's 4-3-3 is a formation that uses 4 defenders, 3 midfielders, and 3 forwards. The 4-3-3 places its emphasis on scoring many goals each game. Often, late in the game, for a coach that uses a 4-4-2 formation, they'll often take one of those midfielders, pluck them out of the midfield, put them up with the forwards to create a 4-3-3 to try to create a numbers advantage to increase the probability that their team will be able to score and tie up the game. The 4-3-3 uses 2 offensive wingers to transport the ball up the flanks and to be able to cross it into the box into the other forward and winger, or cut it in like an inverted winger and try to take a shot on net. If any of these player positions sound kind of confusing, consider grabbing the book I've written, Soccer Positions, using the link. A strength of the 4-3-3 formation is that it's the ultimate attacking formation of the big three formations. The 4-3-3 often features a high defensive line where the defenders will push far up the field to try to win possession back when their forwards and midfielders lose the ball, as well as to try to offside trap the other team. The 4-3-3 formation often uses 3 center midfielders, which makes it so that the other team can't take the ball up the middle of the field, but they can take it up the flanks of the field if they want to attack. Finally, a 4-3-3 has an offensive player advantage over teams using a 5 3-4-1 because those three forwards can often create passing lanes and opportunities to score. The 4-3-3 formation may be unreasonable for teams that do not have three prominent strikers and forwards or wingers that can play and do most of the scoring for their team while most of the rest of the team sits back on defense. And because there's so many center midfielders, the 4-3-3 formation is compacted towards the center of the field, so the other team must use those flanks to win on offense. When a team with the 4-3-3 plays a team using a 4-4-2, the team with the 4-4-2 often outmans the 4-3-3 in the midfield and makes it easier for the 4-4-2 team to maintain possession and to pass the ball amongst their teams. And subscribe to watch my videos first.